Please note that in this video, I'm attacking a very specific group of these spiritual people. I'm particularly talking about those people who have not once ever had a psychedelic experience, yet they're still really against these substances. And many times they'll actually drink alcohol while telling you how drugs are bad. Ah, the irony. Hey guys, I felt like doing a bit of a rant today about these spiritual people who are so actively against psychedelics. So I'll try and make this a quickie. Just a quickie. Now I'm sure you guys have crossed paths with these guys before, these so-called spiritual people who are really against psychedelics, but they usually have never had a direct experience with them. So they're actually going by an ideology which kind of goes against spirituality. So it's like this really ironic, weird thing that's going on, which they don't even realize. And you know, they'll think they're spiritual because they wear these hippie attire, and they'll have crystals, and they'll meditate, they'll do yoga, they'll do Reiki, they're really into their astrology, and all these type of things, which is completely fine. Like, I'm not making fun of you for liking crystals and all that kind of stuff. I mean, hey, I've got a crystal right here. Does that make me spiritual? You know, I myself do yoga and meditation quite regularly, so I'm not bagging you for liking those things, but I am calling you out for liking all these things, right? Being so spiritual and wanting to reach enlightenment and detach yourself from all dogma and ideology and going by your direct experience. I mean, that's the heart of what spirituality is, right? But yet you're so against these psychedelic drugs. Interesting. Let's explore that. So one of the main arguments you get, right, from these spiritual people who are so against psychedelic substance use is because I don't need drugs to be spiritual, okay? They don't need these tools to get them where they want to go. By the way, guys, I'm just giving you guys shit. Like, I don't truly mean what I'm saying. I am being a little bit more aggressive just for like entertainment purposes, so don't be offended. So like I said, the main argument you usually get is like, oh, I don't need psychedelics, I can get there with meditation. Well, if you go by that logic, it's like saying, I don't need to drive to work because I can just walk there. Why should I take a cruise ship to New Zealand if I can just swim? See, the thing about getting into meditation at first is that you have no fucking idea on what you're aiming for. None. You can read books about Buddhism all you want and, you know, try to detach yourself from thoughts and be the observer and focus on your breathing and all that kind of stuff, but you have no fucking idea what you're aiming for. And it's gonna take you a long fucking time before you truly get like a mystical experience, right? You know, and I'm not saying that you need psychedelics to get to that state with meditation. I'm sure you can reach that state without psychedelics, but why shoot yourself in the foot and delay your progress? Now, psychedelics are definitely not a shortcut, as there are no shortcuts in life, period. They act as more of an accelerator booster. They'll give you a glimpse, just a little glimpse of enlightenment. They'll give you a glimpse of that unity consciousness. They'll give you a glimpse on what it's like to transcend duality, to have that direct experience with the nature of reality, which serves as a very useful guide map on where to aim for. You get me? And the thing about psychedelics is that it's not going to do the work for you. You have to meet it in the middle. You have to learn how to use that tool, just like a hammer. A hammer's not going to build a house just magically by itself. You have to do it. And on that note, on the other side of the coin, you can use that same tool, the hammer, to bash your brains in. Just like psychedelics. So it is a bit of a double-edged sword. So while I never advocate psychedelics for everybody, I do advocate responsible psychedelic use in the correct set and setting for a well-balanced minded person. And you know, I know that I'm a bit biased when it comes to this because they have been the greatest allies I've ever had in my personal growth, and they've helped me tremendously. Without psychedelics, man, I would probably still be incredibly narcissistic. I'd still be depressed. I would still be addicted to my negative thoughts. I'd still be addicted to alcohol, to weed, to video games, to watching TV, and being completely disconnected with myself and the outside world. And who knows, maybe without the use of any psychedelics, that eventually I would go on the right path, but God knows how long that would be. Jesus Christ! I don't even want to think about that. Again, just because meditation can get you to a place, that automatically means that you shouldn't use psychedelics. That's a fucking bullshit argument. It's weak. I'm going to assert that it's actually just fear of the unknown what's really stopping you, like on an unconscious level. Like when you're going to meditate, right? Does your knees shake and tremble with fear? Do your palms get sweaty? Does your heart race? Yeah, do you get anxious as fuck? because you know that you're going to step into the abyss of your own psyche and have to deal with shit that you don't want to deal with and face it right then and there? No, of course not. Because a lot of these spiritual people, and I'm sorry that I keep doing this, but I'm going to keep doing it because it's funny. They'll get caught up in this spiritual tourism. They'll get caught up with all the fluff, all the things that makes them feel good. Love, yeah, fucking unicorns and rainbows and fucking meditation and Reiki and crystals. Like I said, all those things are completely fine, I get it. But what about the shadow aspect of yourself? And if you understand duality, the shadow aspect of ourselves is half of who we are. And psychedelics are quite infamous for showing you how much of a fucking asshole you can be. And yeah, really show you the parts that you don't like about yourself and face them then and there. And it's not like all these shadow aspects of yourself completely disappear from you. No, of course not. You change your perspective of it. You change your relationship with the shadow aspect of yourself. You learn to love all aspects of yourself. And psychedelics are great for that. Go to an ayahuasca retreat and have a ceremony with a shaman, and you'll see yourself. And of course, psychedelics aren't the only tools for dealing with this. There are other modalities in which you can reach that state without the substance. You know, there's holotropic breathing, there's floating. But I still don't think anything can come close to these plant medicines. And they've been around for eons, man. Thousands and thousands of years. You go back in ancient culture, they're scattered everywhere. Every culture had their own sacrament, right? Where they had these psychedelic ceremonies, you know, to be in contact with the divine and explore different states of consciousness. It's been around forever. And I don't want to be one of those people who's like, oh, because it's been around forever, it means it's good. No, of course not. But what I can say is that it's helped me tremendously. It's helped me heal on so many different levels. And I've seen transformation before my very fucking eyes of many, many, many different people after like one ceremony. That shit does not exist. It's unprecedented. And it's funny because you have these psychedelic medicine which are particularly good at the very aspects in which psychiatry is very weak at. Treatment-resistant depression, PTSD, addiction, end-of-life transition issues. It seriously blows my mind every time I fucking talk about it. And I talk about this shit a lot. So when you look at it, these spiritual people don't really have an argument for it. You know, they'll base their opinions of people that they've seen in festivals who just drop a whole bunch of acid and act like fucking retards. And then it's like, oh, okay, so that's what psychedelics are. Or they'll base their opinion on what they see in the news or what they've got told at school or by their parents. And again, they've never had a psychedelic experience themselves, which is fucking fascinating. You know, I went to Rainbow Serpent this year with a girl that shall remain nameless. If you are watching, I still love you, don't worry. I understand your perception. I do, but I definitely do not agree with it. She'd be one of those people who's like, you know, he's very spiritual. He'll dress in nice hippie attire. He'll like eat organically and fucking be into meditation and yoga and Reiki and, you know, typical spiritual stuff. I wonder how many times I've done this. And what's really funny is that she's like tried every drug under the planet apart from psychedelics. And she's like super against it, and she'll come up with the same argument that, oh, I don't need psychedelics because meditation can get me there. But it's like, are you there though? Like, she's one of those girls who has so many fucking like, she can't even manage something like stress. She'll just stress over the littlest, tiniest things. She has a lot of trauma that she hasn't dealt with, a lot of family issues. Shit that I'm sorry to say, but without, doesn't even necessarily have to be psychedelic, but if she doesn't do something outside of just meditation, it's going to take her a long fucking time to resolve those issues. And of course, naturally, with pretty much any deep conversation, it's going to go to psychedelics eventually. I'm going to mention it at least once. And, you know, I'll be talking about psilocybin mushrooms and, you know, just educating her about them and the mechanics of how they actually work in our physiology and how incredibly non-toxic they are and how anti-addictive they are. And she'll be like, oh, actually, no, mushrooms is a poison. It's toxic to your body. And it's really bad for you. And if you're like, oh yeah, interesting, where'd you get that? Oh, I read it somewhere. I'm like, oh, do you know the source? Like, where do you get it from? And then I'll educate her on, like, I'll be like, bang, bang, on all these actual facts on recent scientific literature. And she'll be like, oh, well, you know, you have your facts, I have mine. You're biased, you know, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, of course, I'm biased on these psychedelic substances, but the information that I give on science, it's not biased. I just say it how it is. And then, yeah, she just blows it off. So it's like, it's like, you people need it more than anybody and you don't see it. It's like, dude, it's fucking frustrating. But who knows? Hopefully they'll eventually wake up. Now, I don't want to end this video on just bagging spiritual people. But there are also like an other side of the coin where you actually get like legit spiritual people, you know, these mystics, right? And then they'll tell you that psychedelics should never be touched because of how dangerous they are, because they open up portals to different dimensions and shit, different stuff can latch onto you. See, that is something that I can like, okay, see, I understand where you're coming from. And I used to just push away the dangers of psychedelics. I'm like, oh yeah, they're only dangerous if you're really fucked up in the head, blah, 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 blah. But it's not until you have like a really intense psychedelic experience where you go into the depths of hell and you face the devil yourself when you say, actually, yeah, these substances can be fucking dangerous. Especially if you don't take set and setting extremely fucking seriously, and if you don't protect yourself, because things can latch onto you. And again, whether or not you believe in evil spirits, or whether you just believe these are archetypes of the collective unconscious, like Carl Jung put them, it's still the same experience. It's still going to be something latching onto you and fucking you up. Like, does it, you know, it's funny how people's argument will go that. It's like, no, actually, there's no such thing, there's no scientific proof, blah, blah, blah. Well, mate, we don't know shit, alright? Those are the arguments that I don't get involved in, because you can't prove either side of the fence. But what you can prove is the results. And even though overall scientific research have been overwhelmingly positive, and there's been, who knows, probably tens of thousands of anecdotal evidence about the healing potential of these plants, you still get those people every now and again who get kind of fucked up from it. But the people who usually get fucked up from these substances, you know, they usually didn't take it very seriously in terms of like, you know, researching what retreat they're going to go to, researching the shaman, because it's very, very, very important which shaman you choose. And I'll get messages from people wanting to self-medicate on their depression, which I'm very fucking against. Don't do that. Don't be a fucking idiot. Yes, of course, psychedelics are extremely good for treating depression, but that's with a guide. I mean, hey, you can do it by yourself and it can cure your depression, you'll be fine, and you'll be all fucking, you know, sunshine and lollipops. But what happened if the other side of the coin landed and you end up getting way fucking worse? And depression is not a fun fucking game. So I couldn't even fathom what would be the next level past that. So do not self-medicate if you are suffering from a severe mental illness. Go to the fucking jungle. Do it with a shaman. Don't be stupid. Ooh, that got a bit serious. Ooh. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, spiritual people. Yeah, no, like I was saying, like, you know, you get those legit people who are like against psychedelics because of the dangers, but we're all grown adults. Like, if you take certain settings seriously, you protect yourself, you do it in a reputable retreat, then you'll be fine, alright? Trust me, you'll be fine. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It was nice to vent. I'm sorry I was a little bit aggressive and like, very serious in this video, but yeah, sometimes it's just nice to let those things out as well. So, just before I end this video now, I just thought of a cool analogy someone told me about how psychedelics is like getting a trampoline and boing, jumping up and seeing over that wall and having a little glimpse of what it's like to be enlightened. Just a little glimpse, just a little taste. And meditation is like slowly building that ladder. And of course, if you see my videos, you know that I'm a huge advocate of meditation. I think every single one of us should be doing it. And it doesn't necessarily mean sitting on a hill with crystals and chanting Om. It just means being in the present moment. Could be focusing on deep breathing, could be playing guitar, could be going for a nature walk. You know, it's just, everyone has their own way that resonates with them. Just do what you can to just really connect with yourself every single day. Because it's that disconnection that creates so much disharmony. It's that disconnection which creates things like addiction issues, depression, anxiety. Because you're not present in the moment. And these psychedelics are fucking great to just shed off all this bullshit programming. It's not even yours. Like, you think you know, a lot of people think they know who they are, but they have no fucking idea. And yeah, I know I'm going on a little bit of another tangent, but I do want to add this in just quickly, is that it's interesting with psychedelics because it is entirely possible, like there's a great possibility that the psychedelic experience stemmed every single fucking religion there is, or at least all the ancient ones. Can I send somebody to go, state your facts, where do you get that information? It's like, oh, that's way too much to get into here. I'll have to either make a video in the future or go search online. But yeah, it's just really interesting how how psychedelics have been linked to a lot of these, you know, mystical experiences. So it's just something to think about. But anyways, guys, I know this video was a little bit all over the place, and I'm a bit kooky right now, which is fine. But anyways, yeah, if you like this video, give it a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I release videos on a weekly basis, and for those who've been supporting me on Patreon, thank you so fucking much. You guys are an absolute legend. And if you guys are curious on Patreon, want to get behind what I'm doing, I'll leave a link in the description below. Feel free to check it out. But yeah, have an awesome day, guys, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.